Seems a bit odd, isn't it? Yeah. A bit offsetted. I should be live. I'm not gonna. Alright. Remove my headphones. It's a bit. Oh. Just say before this live stream. No, it isn't. Why would it be? That's cool, I guess. I can deal with that. Let's go. Show me my stream. There you go. There you are. Under free, yep. That seems to be right. Oh, it has streamer mode. That makes sense. That's why I don't see it. Hi. Yeah. Today we're doing this. Hello. Cause why not? It's already set up, so I can use it, right? That's gonna be fun. I'm dying. No, don't die. There's so much to learn, especially today. We're gonna do a lot of work, so yeah. I'm actually giving a stroke. Stop it. Alright. That does feel good though. Let me double check. I don't think I have anything else to do. Again, pop up my chat, so it's gonna be a bit easier to reach you. And we can actually start. Disclaimer, I have no clue what we're gonna do today. So we are gonna struggle with today's work, I guess. We're all gonna be in a bit of a pickle. Let me check how the website looks like right now. Not this one. I should actually fucking prepare it beforehand. So as usual, yeah, that's gonna be a main main theme in my work. Having no clue what the fuck am I doing is basically my whole shtick at this point. Okay, so we have this website and shows us this. That looks lovely. Oh, I know what we're gonna do now. I probably should have like make these like add more data so we can control it. Like we can test it out better. But that's not gonna be too much of an issue today. We're just gonna skip it. What we're gonna actually do today is maybe add a footer, but not this. That wouldn't be too much of importance. We can add a header, and I'm actually gonna do it most likely. I'm just gonna put some placeholder data over here, and yeah, we're gonna add header, and we're gonna add a, how do you call it? Jesus. The model blinks when I blink, and this is fucking. If you think that this feels uncanny, sorry, that's gonna take a while since I'm gonna get used to it. Like until I'm gonna get used to it. God. Okay. Yeah. Let me think. We're gonna add a banner, and we're gonna add the loading. The loading curtain, like the preloader. That's basically a sort of mask that that's on top of on top of a page while the page is loading. It's not too much of a deal, and it's not gonna be too important since the page is actually working quite smooth. Not much of a loading times, but yeah. You can actually see where my second monitor is. I actually offset it, the VTube model a bit, so now I'm looking straight straight on my primary monitor, but I made it so she's a bit tilted during that, so I don't look too weird, like too much. Like I don't look too weird whenever I actually look to my left where my chart is. That's why the character is mostly looking left. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Yeah. Yeah, I think it looks good. I actually like the character as well. Like I spent a bit of a time getting her. Yeah. I'm happy with it. Have it that might sound like. God fucking damn it. That's gonna take most of today's stream. Like just me looking at the VTube model, feeling fully uncanny. Like, yeah, that's man, futures now. This is me in 15 years. Okay, let's get back to business. Okay, so we're mostly happy with what we have here, but like I said, we're gonna have the header with a bit of like bookmarks, links to so we can scroll up and down to this either to this view or to the view right up below it. I might actually add some text here as well. Oh yeah, we want to add filters. I want to add filters. Search bar, sorting options, that's mostly it. That's big. That's actually something that I really want to add. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Exactly that. Okay, yeah, so I think we're gonna focus on that, but I could potentially start with, excuse me, start with header and, no, with just header. Preload is not important. Okay, so let's go here. We already have a file for header. If someone doesn't have it or removed it during the work or working from the get-go without my my border plate being used, the header goes in components layout. This is the layout folder is arbitrary. It's more of a my setup, so I know like what kind of component it is. But it being in components folder in root is a bit important. So as you can see, it's in the root. That's that, and where it goes, where it's provided to the layout is in default. So here it says header, which is basically just hey, use our component, and all of this goes here. Pretty basic. If anyone's interested in what the fuck does Nuxt mean or why is it here, it's actually because the point of it is basically here, like the whole page goes. So basically, if whenever we have our show that view, we can actually remove g-subtest. Oh, yeah, we can remove the g-subtest. I think that was an offline test with David, so it's not important right now. So this is basically a full HTML code, and then we have header and footer, and whatever's in Nuxt, like whenever the Nuxt tag is, the whole template of our page goes. So here, like this is basically a place where the rest of a page would go. That's why you have header, then Nuxt, then footer, because you want footer to be at the very bottom of a page. I think that's a bit obvious. But yeah, that's basically how it works. And whatever we're gonna add in header, it's gonna be in it's gonna be in right below right above the main page content. So we're gonna add ID header just for future reference. We could potentially edit this section, edit the header from outside if we find a way, a need for it. But for now, that's gonna be enough. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. Why are we using ID and not classes like we usually do? Since IDs, the main point of IDs is that you have to make sure that there's only one element per ID. Like you cannot have like multiple headers. You don't have multiple headers on a website. You just only have one header. At the same time, you don't have multiple elements with ID header. That's why like it fits to use an ID in this situation, but mostly we use classes because there might be a point where we use the same naming convention, and so that's why we mostly go with classes. It's just more reliable as well. it's a good practice to use classes most of the time. But if you have like a part, an element that you're 100% sure is gonna be just one on the whole page, and you know that you might actually want to reference it from, like, you know, from outside, like using outside code. For example, in this context, if we want to reference header from any of the components, we may want to use ID to make sure that it calls the right component, because the point of ID is to make sure that there's only one element on a page at a time. So that's that. Yeah, let me think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we're gonna go with div inside the header, just to make sure that, like, just not editing the whole section. Like I said, I just like having a buffer between the main element, in this case section, and anything that is actually like edited by me. Like, they have a custom CSS on it, and has like the positioning and and like inner logistics. I like to keep all of this inside of the main element rather than keep it on the element itself. So I like my you could just say I like my sections pure. I like my sections clean. So the section has as little data on it as possible, and then, like, inner elements can have multiple, like, can replace it basically. So first of all, if we save it now in this state, you can easily see that nothing changed from, like, visual standpoint, because that's how it's supposed to work. But you can easily see that one of the sections, one of the siblings of main, which is our main website, which is our, like, main content of a page, actually got the ID header, which may suggest that this is our header tag, this is our Nuxt tag, and this is our footer tag in the default view. You can actually see the default layout, and can easily see the parallels of it. So we have a template in this instance, an ID layout, because default is one of the layouts. You can see it here. So that's our layout, default, right? The default layout. And the template of it, like the instead of using the word template, he uses ID layout over here. Then we have a single empty div over here, right? And then inside this div we have three children. Wait, it makes sense why your VTubal model looks so happy. My god. I can actually make her even more happy. Hey, how you doing? You better subscribe. Yeah. Anyway. First one you did. You mean, like, she looked. This one? Wait, give me a sec. I'm actually gonna switch. You know what? I'm actually gonna just. I wanna see it. Okay. Yeah, a bit. It's supposed to be like that's neutral and that's happy, but it seems more like, yeah, that's happy and that's on cocaine. That feels like it, yeah. Also, I'm your fucking nightmares. You understand me? I'm in your fucking nightmares. Cool. We can get back to work. I love it. I love it. Anyway. She has a bit of a stroke whenever I do something that the software can recognize. So for example, I just drank something from a bottle and she looked like I get a spasm. So that's fun. Was it? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you can see a basic reflection of what we have inside the code. With you don't have the option to drink from bottle. Well, no, I don't. I don't think I have. And even so, the software wouldn't recognize it automatically. So I would have to, like, there's probably an option to add more animations, but that's like a sort of point. Like I didn't want her to look like she's drinking something from a bottle. I was thirsty, not her. It's not you know. It doesn't have to reflect whatever I'm doing. I just find funny that sometimes whenever I most of VTubers press button, they drink. Oh, they do have it. I don't know. I only have like emotion. I have a bit more of emotion. Oh, that, yeah. Oh, this one's like laughing. Fucking idiot. No, but yeah, I only have emotions. So, like I don't have any like animations. But that's also a open source code. So I don't think like, and I no, I don't think it's open source, but I think like it's free indie code. So that's nothing, nothing too professional. There are options to be like way more professional, but it ain't it. All right. So you can easily see this section is our header, this main is our Nuxt, and this section is our footer. And if we go with here, you can see that the very first thing, the very first thing within the page is the main, which goes here. So you can easily tell that this main is replacing this tag. It all comes together. That's it. So yeah, and we can see inside we have section with ID header and an empty div, and this is exactly what we have here. Obviously we have a class, but the class is empty, so it's just removed because there's no need to keep an empty class on an element, so it's just removed. So that's that. Yeah, we can get back to work. So the first, oh no, actually we can actually look here. So the most important part of like, header is the fact that it sticks to the top of a page, or like the top of a view. Some people prefer where like the top of the header, the navigation bar doesn't move with you. It just stays as a fixed element of a page rather than your viewport. But I think I'll go with complete opposite. So it won't be visible when you're on the top of a page, or there will be like very minimal version of it. And then when you scroll down, you see more options because you're like in the middle of doing stuff. We'll see how it goes. We'll start with like making a very primitive one, a primitive element, and then we're gonna go further with it. So okay. Let's start here. All we have to do is follow the intrinsic. Our option here is position fixed, which means that this element is gonna scroll with us, independent on the positioning, or the parenting of whatever the parent elements are in the page. This is gonna be like gonna stick to your viewport itself. You can probably get a lot of like you can easily think of a lot of examples of elements on the pages. So for example, like cookie, the cookie pop-up, the information like, oh, we use cookies to fucking track your mother, and you click accept. So this is usually a fixed element. Like I said, a lot of navigation bars. Sometimes when you can actually like see a video, the video miniature. I think YouTube has this option when you play like the YouTube video in a corner, and you can scroll the main page without exiting the YouTube player, and this is technically the fixed element, and so on. So we can actually visualize it by adding, oh great, yes, that's how you say pixel. You can easily see it over here. We're gonna add a background as well. Oh, that's lovely. And we have to add the Z index of like a lot. So the Z index means basically you can think about it as like layers. So you might for example open GIMP and like play with layering, and so like the image is separated into layers, and layers can be above and below themselves. So yeah, basically like you can just put sheets of paper on top of each other, on like below each other, and certain things will be obscured by other things. This basically that, but within the web development context. There's a bit more like weirdness towards this Z-index option, but yeah, it comes with experience, to be honest. Like it's hard to say whether or not the Z-index will work. The rule of thumb is Z-index is mostly working with elements that are fixed, sticky, or absolute. So basically it depends on the position option over here. Most likely, in most cases, if you work with fixed or absolute, you may want to work with Z-index as well. Okay, so that's that, and you can see that if we scroll up and down, it sticks to your it sticks to your if it sticks to your viewport rather than being scrolled up with the page. It actually goes with us on a journey. So yeah, we're actually gonna get this a bit smaller, maybe not that small. 80 pixels would be fine, and here we just want 100%, or rather, oh yeah, 100% would be okay. So that's, yeah, that's fine. Obviously not red, because, you know, I'm not a sociopath. I might be a I might be a 2D character. It's actually 3D though. It's a 3D character, so I'm much closer to being alive than your favorite anime waifu, bitch. Anyway, so yeah, so I might be a 3D character, but I'm not a sociopath, so we're not going with red. We're going with whatever this is, and yeah. So yeah, my plan is to keep it that anywhere but at the very top. If you're on a Brarwood, I mean, it's true though. She's not alive, mate. You alone? Okay, so let's yeah, we keep it like that anywhere but at the very top. At the very top, I think I'll go with background. What was it? Oh, you can see what I'm thinking. How I'm thinking. I'm usually moving my head whenever I'm thinking. So yeah, that's fine. Is that linear background? Yeah, okay. Here we set it to 0, no, 180. And as you can see, it actually gives us this like the vignette, a bit of a vignette thing, and then we can actually make it higher to like 100 pixels instead, so it feels a bit bigger. I don't actually like the fact that it's like it feels weird. It is like cool. Sure, no, whatever. Okay, so yeah, we go in black, or like var black actually. We go in var black to 0, and it's gonna be a bit of a text, and whenever we scroll, it's gonna switch to this, it's gonna switch to height 80 pixels instead. So it's gonna, you know, go up and down with it. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna look very cool, very nice. All right, let's go with it. So we're actually gonna, since there's a gradient options over here, it's a bit harder to work with gradient on Tailwind itself. It's not impossible, but I think we're just gonna use the standard CSS option for that. Let me just copy all of this. It's gonna be easier to, I don't know if I copy it. Yeah. Yeah, so we get these two outside and go. I'm actually gonna just copy it and then place it properly before actually explaining what the hell I'm doing. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's great. Yeah, obviously we switched these to our calculation option. That's 80 RAM divided by 16, and that's 100 RAM, 120 RAM divided by 16. Same thing. Like I said, position fixed means that you it scrolls with you. With 400% because we want it to go through the whole page, like to be the same width as the page itself. Height 80 pixels. We use this whole calculation thingy instead of just pixels, because this way it actually scales up and down with page, just like we mentioned way before in the first episode, in the first stream. So the RAM value is basically equivalent of 16 pixels on Full HD, scaling up and down with the page itself. So it's basically 80 RAM divided by 16, which is 8, because RAM is basically 16 times bigger than pixel. So you can whenever you see this, just assume it's 80 with whatever this value is, pixels, but like scalable. Background black, because yeah. Index, because yeah. We actually have to like set it up a bit differently, but I think actually going like 10,000 would be okay, and then we can go 15,000 for the preloader. But for now, yeah, we just want the header to be at the very, very top, like above everything else. We don't want any element of a page to obscure the header. And here is something that you couldn't do in normal CSS. This is a pure SCSS thing, and this basically means this end, that's an ampersand, and it basically means end in like English and probably other languages as well. So this basically means copy whatever wherever the parent CSS is. So basically this is gonna have this instead. So this whole configuration is, don't do that. This whole configuration is basically the same as this, but it's just easier to write whenever it's like parenting each other. Like, not parenting. Parenting means like looking after someone. Okay, definitely. I can speak multiple languages. I'm bilingual. What the fuck you mean? Anyway, so yeah, what I mean by that is this inherits this name. So we basically say whenever header has a class active. So that's the only situation when this kicks in. Without this in a class, like if it's like that, it's not gonna kick in. Obviously, we actually don't want. Yeah, that's my bad. We actually don't want to edit the section itself. We actually want to edit the div inside. So why not just going this way? That's it. And this is another thing that makes the whole SCSS thingy makes easier, because I didn't have to change this element. The pure fact that I changed this changes this by default, because it still just inherits the whole thing here, right? So this, keep in mind, there's a space over here, and this space means that this element is a parent of this element. If there will be no space, that means that this element has this class. So this is one element, but these are parent and child. All right, and keep in mind that there's no space over here. So this class has to be on this element. Why? If I add a space over here, that means that we want that we look for a div with or like any element with active class inside of a header. So this header class would have to be a parent of this active class if there's a space bar over here. If with no space between them, this basically means this and this is the same element, and it has to have both classes for this CSS to kick in. It gets easier with experience. Like I said, like it's mostly about recognizing the whole syntax and trying to understand it over time. It gets easier the further you go. Right. Okay. Let's see if that works. I mean, it's not gonna work by itself, obviously, but we can force it to work. So right now it's doing the we have to refresh the page. It still has my previous code in it. Yeah, so you can easily tell that this element is the basic one. It doesn't have 120 pixels height. It's a low one, and it's not gradient. It's just it's just basic. It's just a basic. Just a basic plain color. If we add active to it, it's switched to the previous. You can see whenever I add active class to it, it switches to 100%, the 120 height, 120 pixels height, or 7.5 RAM. That's not a lot. So no, that's okay. 7.5 RAM. It's 120 pixels, obviously, and this gradient makes it so it's not plain text. You can easily see the difference here and here. It switches between them. But we don't actually want to like switch on a spot. Instead, we actually want to we wanted to gradually switch between them. So basically a CSS animation, which we can actually do pretty easily. Over here we can add transition, which means change values gradually rather than fast. Height 0.3s, and which means change height like within 0.3 of a second, and then after a comma you add another value. So in our situation, it's background color. It has to be like said explicitly that it's a color value, because background can be an image as well, and this is not supported. You can just gradually change between two images by default in CSS. And also without this one, yeah, and yeah, it's also 0.3 seconds for us. It's gonna be enough. Let's see if that works. That might not work from a get-go. because we change from a solid color to gradient, and that might be not I actually didn't see it. Let me. Yeah, it looks okay here, but it twitches a bit on the way back, and there might actually be a thing over here. If we change this to 0 degrees and swap those two colors around, that might be a result, and if not, I still have a plan B or plan C in this case, so don't worry, we can still work on it. There you go. Yeah, it still like twitches whenever we get back to the main color. So what we're gonna do actually, we could potentially, let me think. Yeah, that's gonna be right. We can potentially use this. Let me see if that works before I say anything. It does work. I mean, it has the yeah, and if we go here instead, let me quickly check it, change it to red, for example, and here we're gonna change it to blue to make it much more obvious for us, right? Green, it can be green, I guess. And so that's that. Let's see if that works. What's going on? Oh, because I have two background options here. Okay. Yeah, so it has this black going towards red gradient as a like as a default, and then we can say to change the color from red to green, but it's not graduate this time, right? And that's still okay. They'll do fine, but I think you can actually say to transition the your values as well, but you can't. I was pretty sure you can, but apparently you cannot. Doesn't matter, still look just as fine, I think. Or we could just completely remove it from here and just get this back here and remove absolutely everything that we did in a second, and that add a background. Background black, and here we just go with 0000, which is transparent black. That's gonna be it. And I guess looks very very meh. I could actually add transition, because if we add transition or like background color over here, right? It actually works fine. It works fine one way. So from changing from non-active to active, it looks fine. But then it twitches only the other way around. So we could potentially remove this and say, hey, transition for background and for height, obviously, those two. So this will replace this, but only when it's active. So only when it looks good. At least it should. Let's see. It's still like, there is still a twitch. But there's no like I wanted to check if that will work as well. Let's see. Yeah, so this this is basically a whole thing. This is what web development is all about. There's a constant feedback. You just check if something's working. If not, trying to find another solution. So here it let me reset it because I think it's still on the old version. Yeah, it doesn't do anything at all at this point. Yeah, we can keep it this way. So what that means basically is that whenever the header is not active, so without this, the active, like, it's gonna transition only the height. So whenever you change whenever you change from active to non-active, you'll just snap the color, but the height's still gonna be animated, but the other way around, it's gonna animate the background as well, thus avoiding the whole weird animation. So as you can see, the background animation, like the color animation, looks okay one way, but it just snaps the other way. It's basically the same concept as keeping all of them animated, but it avoids this weird issue when it like flips and there's a bit of a like the color looks weird whenever we actually do that instead. Like it feels like on the very top there's less opacity than at the bottom. You see this top part, like gets really weird. It looks weird. It looks a bit better in my opinion like that. It's gonna be fine. So here on the very top it's gonna be active, and then you scroll and it's gonna hit this. Or I could potentially just use the same background for both, right? And it's just gonna be a bit bigger over here and then smaller over here. We'll see. I'll keep it like that for now, but I'm very happy with the other version as well, so that's not gonna be an issue. Actually, there's also an option to CSS gradient. God, light mode. What the fuck is this? Polish? My ass. Change to English. Okay. No, fuck off. I'm from United Kingdom. 100% sure. There you go. CSS gradient. God damn it. Why is everything fucking light? Can we store cookies? No, fuck off. So this is an example of fixed element on the website. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you can, yeah, you can like manipulate the percentage values of certain elements, and we could potentially use this as well. So if we go, okay, so you just say percentage after the color. So that's our element, and if we go 0% here and 100% here, and then we add another one, also var black, or like no, all you have to do is here say 50%, and it's gonna keep this for the whole element, or not. Cool, doesn't work. What the fuck happened? Wait, what? Oh, did I? Oh, that's funny. I meant to add it here instead. So yeah, 0%. Could you? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so we can see. So you can easily see that it's full black. It's just plain color. I don't have you. Oh. It's just plain color, like 50% of a height of the element, and then the other 50 is an actual gradient. And we might actually use this instead. If we go like 90, it would look like there's a shadow instead. Or not. Oh no, not 90, the other way around, like 10. Yeah, it's like, yeah. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like the bottom has like a shadow, or like it's blurred out, which is okay. Let's see how 40 would look like. I should actually test all of this with a context in it, like with having some kind of god damn it, some kind of a content inside. So because for now I just look at an empty bar, and it's not gonna look the same way with it's just make transition more subtle. Yeah. But let's think, could we potentially add it here? If I set it up this way, will it be able to gradually move between these? It's actually not that bad. Like you can easily see that there is some kind of animation. I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm okay with it. Obviously, I mean, we'll get back to it once like there's a bit of a text in here. So let's say, let's actually think what I want, what I want, and you know, what element should be visible. Like yeah. What elements should be available on a navbar. So I really want an anchor scroller. So basically a link that would scroll you up to this view or down to this view, like we having this bar at the very top, as long as obviously there's enough content down below. Yeah. So I want at least two links. I want a link to the main page, the page that we haven't built yet, the one that you can log in on and or create a new account. And maybe an edit button over here would be fine. If you logged in. If not, just an option to log in. So I'm thinking here the word login or edit, if that's your, or like yeah, profile or your name. Either in the name of your profile, or login if it's not, if you're not logged in. At the very middle, two options. Platinum, platinum. So the showcase and all games. That'll be okay for now. We'll think about it. Or like full list. Showcase and full list as the two options over here. And here would just be I don't actually know. I don't actually have a good name for this website. I back in the day I just used Kacperuss Platynowanie, but it's very Polish. Like Kacperuss obviously is my nickname, but Platynowanie is basically making something platinum, but it's a Polish grammar. It's a made up word, but still, it's based on Polish grammar rules. I could potentially have only like KP and maybe this logo of a trophy, or like just logo of a trophy. Disgusting. Yeah, fuck. I actually like the either logo of a trophy and then KP, or logo of a trophy itself. That seems very fine. Okay, let's start with this. It's gonna be the easiest one. Okay, so here we actually get a bit more data of here. So we start with display flags. Since we're using CSS anyway, I can add those as a CSS values rather than, because usually we use Tailwind classes for it, but it's the same thing here. Display flags is the same thing if I would just go flags over here. Doesn't matter. So display flags justify content space between, which means just push them as far away from as you can. This is just a COVID option, like 2 meter spread. And then align items center, so we just center vertically. That's not too hard. Okay, and the first element would be the logo itself. So most likely the was the, I don't remember. Font awesome. There you go. That's what I was looking for. And we want the 5 no, icons, there you go, the 515, because we still use the old one. And trophy should be okay. Just the trophy with a star, is it available? Maybe I should actually click free. Yep. I could assume that, could guess so, that it's not available for free, the one with a star in it. Yeah, I'm not surprised, I'm not disappointed, I'm just poor. Text 5, let's say, let's see if that will work, if that will look fine. Would be here actually. Oh yeah, there he is. A very small one, by the way. You know what, I actually keep it 5%, or maybe I'll actually go back to full black. It looks fine. I like it a bit blurry, to be honest. Oh yeah, we actually don't want font size to be added over here, because we want font size to be changed with the active option. So here we're gonna say font size, and obviously the same calculations as here, but here let's say 24 as a base one, so there'll be an equivalent of 6, because here is like, here we use 4 times smaller values than here, so 24 pixels is an equivalent of font of text dash 6, and 20 pixels is an equivalent of text dash 5, and so on. And here we actually use, let's go with 30. I wanna see 30. So that's, is that 24? That's weirdly small, to be honest. Where the fuck am I? Yeah, there we go. No, it still uses, oh my god, what the hell's going on? We're still using text 5 instead, which was 20 pixels. I actually should watch it like that. Yeah. It's fine, I guess. To be honest, it's not growing on me. I thought I'm gonna like it, but no. I'm just gonna keep it like that. We don't need these anymore. Okay, that's fine. That looks okay. Fuck, why is all of it like, there you go. Yeah, that's okay. All right. Yeah, so we're just gonna keep it as a as like one. I could actually potentially add a shadow. So there's an option for box shadow, and it's like 0010, and then we use 000. That looks better. That looks much better than our previous thingy. No, I'm actually okay with full. I'd actually go with like 20 as well. And obviously, if this is active, that looks weird. I mean, it looks like glass, which is also cool. If you want an easy way of like making a glass thingy, this is also cool. But we don't want it. We want it this way. We want it as a basic transition between this, like this and this. Yeah, it looks fine. Maybe if I go 10 over here and add a bit of a transparency. Does it grow on me? Fuck, I might keep it actually. I might keep it. I don't know. I'm still thinking. Just we'll keep this for now. So that's the main option. We can keep it as black over here, and yeah, okay, let's let it be, I guess. You know what? That's fine. That's a nice one. I like it. Yeah, I can easily get used to it. There you go. So that's gonna look like and now actually feels like it would be better if the transparency color would be higher. So basically it would be even less of this. I will leave it like that. I might change it later, but for now it looks cool. Here I would actually go with just to yeah, that looks cool. Okay, wait, give me a sec. Change it to B. Change the box shadow a bit more, and yeah, that looks fine. That looks cool. I actually like it. It actually looks like glass. Okay, yeah, this may actually be a good option to keep it like that. It looks like nothing I've seen so far. It's lovely. Yeah, very much something that something new, and that's what all of this is about, right? Being unique. Okay, let's add a padding on both sides. So let's go with, let's say we got 0 from top and bottom because this is actually managed by flex, but we can add left and right, which is the other option. So this is top bottom, this is left right padding, and here we can add I think 64 would be okay, would be fine. Yeah. I'm actually thinking I would I think I'm gonna remove this. Let's see how this looks like. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, so what I changed is I've instead of having the gradient going from full 100% black, I changed it to like half transparent black. So it goes half transparent to fully transparent, and then it has a shadow box underneath it, which makes it look like it's a shadow. There's like half transparent or like very transparent element above it, like, which for me looks like glass, and it gives this nice this nice visual and I could actually go with 4 to B, which is to make it a bit more transparent. Because after all, I want the elements above it to be easily visible. It looks like it looks like shaded glass, which is good. I really like it. Holy fuck! I didn't think I would like it this much. And obviously, when we scroll down, it's gonna switch back to the main. Yeah. Let's keep this. Yeah, very much so. Lovely. Okay. So yeah, let's see how it look like if we go with KP. So it's Kacperuss Platinum something. It would look okay. I didn't want you to. Okay, let's actually add active here. I like it. I might like it more in bold. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, yeah, that's it. We put this all in an A element. So basically, keep like all of this will behave as a link, and just go. This literally says go to the main page. So here we click it, and it goes back to this page. And actually, it's actually here as well, which is lovely. Don't worry, I'm not having a stroke. I'm just drinking off camera. Cool. Okay, let's add a let's add up the okay, maybe I have a bit of stroke. Okay, maybe I do. Anyway, let's just add a button, a login button at the top right. I do have a stroke. Please send help. If I can. To be honest, yeah, it's still gonna be the same thing, because if you logged in, your main page is, yeah, we'll see. The option to log in will be on the same page as the main. As the main. As the front page. So I think it's not gonna be too much of a difference, but we'll see. Oh, great! It's outside of a header. Yeah. Yeah, I managed to move it to the wrong position. Here, like something like that. Oh, of course, now we fucking have a stroke. Okay, there we go. Maybe in bold, we'll see. They look fine for now. How about in bold? Sure, let's leave it like that. I'm actually now I actually like it this way for the whole page. Like, because there's still this option, right? Okay, yeah, that'll feel better whenever you are like on the bottom of the page. But yeah, so for now we're gonna work on that. But I think I still keep the whole switcheroo between those two. Yeah, so now we need a div, and inside this div, it's still it's also gonna be a flex with justify between and items center. So basically the same options, but shit, there we go. And here we will have like, what is it? If everything, by the way, if everything is bold, we could remove it from here and instead, you know what, actually, why is all of it in those divs anyway if they don't have a class? Yeah, I'm making it a bit easy to read right now. Font weight, yeah, so if everything is bold, we could potentially just move the whole font weight over here. Yeah, and this is how it's gonna look like. It's I think it's like the easiest way you could potentially yeah, what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's the easiest build you could potentially go with on this one. Like I removed those divs because the whole purpose of those divs was to have a class of bold. But if absolutely everything looks okay with bold in a header, the whole header could be just set to be a bold, to have a bold fonts, and everything will inherit this CSS option instead of adding the same option to absolutely everything. Anyway, so let's say we want the first one to be a showcase, and here full list. It looks a bit scuffed, but we can easily work with that. All we have to do is to add some kind of a gap. Let's say 4. Start with 4. We go 8. Next. It still looks a bit too close. It looks like a single space instead of 2 options. Even more. Let's go with 12. That looks cool, actually. That looks okay. And so this should like scroll the whole page up to this point, right? And this should scroll the whole thing down. That's pretty simple. So what I'm actually gonna do now is I'm actually gonna go to the here and do a bit of a that's a bit of a trick. So basically the 3 dots means get everything from this list as a separate values and put it in one list. So we can see I added a list over here, and so we basically make a list of like we make it 4 times bigger by just adding this. Like we don't have to add manually any of those options. We just say, hey, get all of this and put another set of all of this and another set of all of this and another set of all of this as a one list. And so as you can see, it just made our list much longer without without adding the values themselves, because it still uses the same values but just twice, like 4 times, not twice. And so it's gonna be much easier to test the whole scrolling effect. So I'm actually thinking, should we change? Should we switch from this to this whenever we scroll even a bit? So right now it's already gonna be switched. Or should we keep like those semi-transparent glass looking kind of thing until we hit this point, you know, until we actually until we don't see the top element in this case, in it switches here, and if we scroll up it's and we can see this time it switches back to the same semi-transparent. You should change on first move. I actually really like switching over here instead, because it keeps this pretty cool looking option for longer. We'll see both. Doesn't really matter. Looks better anymore. You say I'm right. Yeah, I'll go with that first, and then if we decide otherwise, we can easily change it. So my personal trick for this, because it's a bit hard to have the whole calculating your position and stuff, like corresponding to the size of this element and so on. It's a bit bullshit that you have to actually think about all of it. So instead, what I actually do myself whenever I work with a similar concept, with a similar animation, is that I add a 0 pixels thin element over here and just check if this element is below or above my like this positioning. And it's gonna be even easier right now because we can use GSAP, and GSAP has a thing called scroll trigger, and so we can actually just add a scroll trigger over here, and we just can ask if we've been left. So if this element, this invisible element that goes between this component and this component, if it's already been passed through, or are we still before it? So this is basically, yeah, this is a thing that you can test for with scroll trigger, and we can easily add it. So we're gonna add it now. We can copy it. This, we can also remove this element because we're not using scroll to in favorites. Instead, we're gonna actually use this over here. So I'm just gonna leave it here for now. Doesn't matter. We're gonna do it later. For now, we're gonna go here and add a component, and it's gonna be header switch that view, and it's gonna go in layout section because it's not actually a proper. It's not a proper section. It's gonna be a layout thing. Like it's a visual element rather than a full section of a page. So it's not gonna even have a section here. It's gonna have a div class. Actually, yeah, this is another thing that is like we 100% want only one of these on per page. So I'm actually gonna use ID for this, but it doesn't matter for things like that. We're gonna add a method init gsub because that's basically what we're gonna do. Obviously we want to paste wherever the fuck I copied. It's not gonna be scroll through, it's called scroll to. It's gonna be scroll trigger from the scroll trigger. I think that's how it's called. We'll see in a second. We're gonna see in a second, but for now we want this to be empty, and we're gonna add mounted and call init gsub init. So that's that for now, and we can actually add this element over here, header switch, because it goes between favorites and full list. All right, let's see if anything dies. Obviously it dies. Okay. Module build failed. That's cool. Not such file for directory. The header switch that view. Like I moved it. Yeah, I mean I moved it to. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I moved it mid build. And he got a bit confused on where is it. Okay, so you can see that this div is 920 wide, so that's full HD that I have on my screen right now, and it's 0 width, and so we can actually control it. Like we can use it as an anchor or as a flag, as a trigger, basically a scroll trick. Fuck me, I fucking hate myself. Yeah, so fuck, what's wrong with, I've got a very weird like a fucking skin rash. My skin is fucking red on my arm, and it's very itchy, and I hate it because this is the this is a part of my arm that goes on the edge of my desk, so it goes on the mouse pad and like drops, you know what I mean. So this feels fucking great. Okay, we want documentation for this one. So this scroll, the plugin scroll trigger is a plugin for gsub. gsub is that JavaScript module that we used for Funimation. So fun fix for your skin. Yeah. Oh sorry. My father always tells me that when his tooth hurt, he tore it out. Oh yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Let me grab a fucking knife. No, it's it's okay. I'm gonna be fine. Okay, so we basically want to fucking copy this and obviously add data. This, and then this inside. Okay, and scroll trigger null. So we're gonna keep it the same way we kept. Where was it? Here we kept timeline for future reference, basically. And so here we just say this, this dot scroll trigger equals to and whatever this gives us back, you're gonna put it in here and we can use it later. Mostly for before destroy. So this is called right before you switch between pages. I'm not actually sure if I'm gonna use the this seamless page switching, but it's good to have it. If scroll trigger and scroll trigger dot kill, I think this scroll trigger kill, I think it's kill. So I'm gonna say exactly what the fuck I just did in a second. Is it here? I think it should be here, right? Yeah, here, kill. So basically it kills the whole scroll trigger thing. It just disables the whole logic of whatever we want. Whatever you want to be like, to the whole logic of running the triggers for scrolling for a particular element that we made it for. We want to kill it before switching between sites or like between pages to make sure that the user's browser is not filled with garbage data. That's just a good practice. And so here I ask if the scroll trigger is actually, if the scroll trigger actually contains anything. So because this potentially there could be an issue and this would never run. So you want to check if this scroll trigger is not null, because it's by default it's null. And if there's a kill option inside the scroll trigger, if we want to double check if this function exists, and if it exists, just run it. And like I said, it's before destroy is basically the same as mounted, but for end of a life cycle instead of the start of a life cycle. So mounted is run when your page is loaded and ready at the very beginning of your life cycle of a page, and before destroy is run at the very end when user wants to switch between pages. So we want to just collect some garbage. It's not too much of importance. Okay, so keep in mind this is not our actual data. This is just what we copied. So as a trigger, we don't actually want. We could potentially, and we will. Okay. I wanted to say that we want to use this L, which basically means use like relate to any element that is inside our template instead of like anything else. But like I said, the header switch is there's probably only one header switch on the side. If not, something went completely wrong, so that's fine. The start and we don't want end trigger here, and we want end to be top as well. So this basically means where the start and end triggers be located. For us, all of this is on the top because our element has 0 height, so the difference between top and bottom is absolutely 0 pixels. Right? That's that. On toggle, on update, we don't want any of these, and instead we want on leave console log left and on leave back I'll say what they do and what's left again. I'll say what they do and what's the difference between those two in a second. I'm actually just gonna show it to you. So we're actually gonna show markers as well, because markers, sure, because it's gonna make it a bit easier for us to understand. There we go. It's hard to tell, but here it says scroller start and scroller end right below it, because they're on the same position. So it says scroller start in green and scroller end in red, and this is basically a position where our viewport is looking for these two elements. So this is start and end. Like I said, our current element is 0 pixels, has 0 pixels height, is 0 pixels tall. So there's no difference between start and end. But in like non-zero height elements, you could potentially put start like at it. For example, if we build something on for these elements, we could potentially build a start trigger at the top of this box, and the end trigger at the bottom, and there'll instead of one green line, there'll be one green line here and one red light here, or a red line here. And so this let me show you this, the console. So this scroller here thingy is basically looking for these elements, and whenever your start line, your scroller start passes this start line, you entered it. You entered the element, right? And whenever your end scroller line passes your end element line, you left it. And the difference between enter and leave is leave is pretty basic. You enter an element whenever your start line is passing, and you leave element whenever your end line is passing. But to enter back and leave back basically means if you go like if it's just enter and leave, or enter back and leave back, this depends on whether or not like what was your direction that you entered it from. So from right now we're like entering from top to bottom, so you're scrolling bottom, and you can see that it says left. So that's our on leave function just triggered. So this basically the fact that we left this element, we enter it and left at the same time because it has 0 pixels height, and because we left it, this we triggered this function that made the console log say left, right? But now we pass it, now we below it, right? And now we going up, and as you can see, we entered it again and left it again at the same time. Obviously, that's why I'm only use on leave and on leave back and not on enter and on enter back, because here in our current situation, they're basically the same thing. So that's basically no difference between. But anyway, that's a difference between on left and on left again, like on leave here, on leave and on leave back, right? Is basically a direction that you hello. What was that? Oh yeah, I forgot about it. I have to remove it. The logos still like have a bit of a console lock on them. All of this is not needed. Yeah, but getting back on track. So basically, whether or not the on leave or on leave back, or in other cases on enter and on enter back, whether or not like these particular triggers will trigger, depending on if you enter an element or leave in it, obviously. But if it's back or not depends on your current direction. So basically we left it, but if we going back to the top, right, we left it again, we left it back we live in it on our way back. So that's basically what we're gonna use to switch the header. If it says left, we want this to change to the 80 pixel one, and here we want to switch it back to this option. So that's it. That's gonna be the main part of all of it. We actually want header to be a static element of our data, and actually we want this to be done here. So document query selector, and it's this time we basically want to use document instead of like this L, because we actually want something from outside of our component. This is a rare occasion where we actually want to change something that is not in the component that we're working in. So we actually want to change this. Particularly, we want here data is active, and by default it's true. And here we actually want so the difference between this and this is this colon, and this colon basically means, hey, this is gonna be dynamic. It's not gonna be a static value, it's gonna be a dynamic value. And in our case, we want depending on if it's active or not, we want the word active in it or just being empty. So this element's gonna have the active class only if this value is true, and in other case, in any other case, in the case that this is false, it's gonna put an empty string in it, and it's gonna be like it's gonna look like this, right? And if header is active, it's basically gonna dynamically add this word over here. That's the that's the main focus on Nuxt in Nuxt. Like you can actually edit like HTML classes and stuff using JavaScript variables. And so we're not gonna actually add and remove active class from here. Instead, we're gonna actually edit this is active variable from outside, because that's a bit more, that's better. You shouldn't, in Nuxt by default, you shouldn't actually edit classes yourself. You should let Nuxt change it, because it actually does a bit more in the background than just simply changing the classes. So keep that in mind. Okay, so we're gonna use we're gonna actually, what was that? Let me think a bit. Let me see the console log of this element, because I know you can get the view element, so basically a component from the document, but I don't remember how. Let me see. Is there a way of, you know what? Let me, yeah, cause, I'll be right back. I have to check something. Alright, I think we're back. Where's my chart? Where my chart at? Huh? There we go. Okay. So yeah, I found this, which is basically the same thing, except we use IDs. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that, because I know I used it in the previous project. I just didn't want to dox my previous clients. So yeah, so I used the same thing. So you can potentially just say document query selector header that underscore view underscore, and you actually have you actually get like into this element, and you can actually change those data. We can double check it here. Console log this header and this among many other values inside. It should actually have is active. Yeah, there you go. See, is active true. This is just part of this element now. We actually have a direct control over this value, and that means that we can actually go here and say this header that is active. We want it to be false when we leaving down and to be true when we're getting back up. There you go. As you can see, it switches between these pretty nicely. I might need to add here font size of 3s, because it switches between the font sizes a bit weirdly. But now here you can easily see it. Yeah, it's a lovely animation. There you go. That's basically it. Seriously, that was what? That was like here it's mostly a CSS thing. Like it's almost empty over here, and there's nothing, still nothing here. But I mean, those it's still gonna be a bit more here. But from this element, it's just literally one div in template. It's two values in data, one method, which is basically a scroll trigger setup. We remove markers to like, oh, actually I'm gonna comment them out instead of removing completely, to make sure that they're not actually showing up on a page. And here is just, yeah, find header and run the init setup, and make sure to collect garbage if we switch pages. And so that's it. As you can see, once we removed the markers over here, they're not here anymore. Neither here nor there. So yeah, you can see. Okay, let me let me show you exactly how it looks like now. What's going on? So yeah, that's our page, and we scroll down, and as you can see, we nicely switch between those two. Right? Seems fine. And I'm actually thinking we could potentially like switch between those, like make this one, for example, underlined whenever we hear, and here, like, yeah. So I'm actually gonna change the naming convention, because is active doesn't mean too much in our situation. I think I'm gonna change it to is showcase, and here, because that's the name of our main, of our top element, and here it's gonna change is showcase, and here that's showcase, And obviously we have to change it here as well. That's that. And here I'm actually gonna CS for showcase and class FL for full list. It's not actually gonna be an A element either. It's gonna be a div, both of them, because they're not actually gonna be a link to the outside element, the outside page. Rather, they're actually gonna just link to like they're gonna run functions within the same page rather than changing pages, so they're not actually an A. So actually we want these to be a cursor pointer, so that whenever we actually point at it with a cursor, it changes to this like to this this type of cursor. Without it, I can actually show it here. So now showcase has pointed cursor on it, but full list doesn't, and you can see the difference. This one looks like it's a link because you have this like a pointing finger up looking as, and here it doesn't. It defaults to the text cursor, so that's the difference. So we want all of this. Fuck. So we want both of them to change cursor to this one because it looks better. Okay, and we like Fortnite, and so yeah, we want the SC thing to be text decoration underline, and whenever we not, so and not showcase, we actually want the full list FL to be underlined. So that's basic. We just add to this one, and this is basically this is exactly what you expect, like by reading it in English left to right. So if this element, right, because that's the ampersand here, if this element does not have the showcase class, then the FL element in it should be underlined. If it has a showcase class previously, then the active class, then the SC showcase should be underlined. So basically it says, yeah, as you can see, it's full list. Full list is underlined when we here, and the showcase is underlined when we here. That's very basic. I'm pretty sure it's fully understandable. Okay, and the last thing we're gonna do today, because I'm gonna wrap it up, is if you press either of these, it should like gradually scroll you up and down on to the appropriate section, right? So showcase should scroll you fully up here, full list should scroll you around here, right? Right. Okay. So here we actually gonna use we actually need a way to let the whole setup know where is the appropriate place for the scroll, like which element or how far should each button scroll And so we're actually gonna use another one of these small snippets of like small elements that as anchor points that have like zero height. I just really like using stuff like that. So if we go, for example, showcase anchor, which is exactly what I used to do in my previous in my previous project. So I just have two divs with ID showcase anchor and list full list anchor in such positions that they actually correspond to the position that we want to scroll to. So showcase anchor is all the way up here and full list anchor is here, and so we're just gonna scroll to them. So header. So here we're gonna add methods, and one of the methods is on you know what, I'm gonna make it general, just one function for both of them. Anchor scroll, and here is like element basically. So the element, whether you'll be like a full object or just a class list or the ID element, the class element or ID element, doesn't matter. And here we can just say add click, because we want to run it when we click this element. And anchor scroll, and here just showcase anchor, and the same thing here, but here it says full list anchor. I think that's very much understandable. And here all we have to do, we have to actually, I'm actually gonna check it. I'm actually gonna double check it. Gsub scroll to. Duration. Yeah, we basically want this thing. Here this, and we just literally just put this as an element. We can leave it at 2, I guess. It's gonna look okay. Okay, let's see. So if I press this, it should potentially scroll it all the way up, and it does that. And if we click this, it was a bit of a hiccup, but yeah, it works. 2 things. First of all, 2 seconds is fucking disgusting long. Disgustingly long. And the second thing, I really want some better easing. So I'm gonna change it to 1 second, and we might actually go even lower. And power to in out should be okay. There we go. I just needed to okay. Yeah, it looks lovely. I really like it. And it obviously works from every position, wherever you are. You're just gonna scroll to the position that you from the position that you are towards like your your position they want to be in. That's it. Yeah, that's that. So yeah, I'm really glad that it looks like this. It really feels good. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be it for now, for today. I hope you liked it. If not, go fuck yourself. That's it. I'm gonna fucking eat something now. All right. Yeah. See you whenever. I don't know. See you in a years in 2025. Eldon.